Okay, everyone. Again, welcome to today's class, and do let me know in the comments on the channel if you can see my screen. Um, it says here that my screen is paused or my video is paused. I'm not sure why. Okay. I think we have enough people to start, and hopefully others will join us. Okay. Okay. I'm going to do. I might not share my screen on this, but just to cover a little bit on what we did yesterday. Um, Yesterday was prioritization techniques, and no, 1 second, that is wrong. Okay, yesterday was agile methodologies overview. We got to discuss, or I introduced you guys to agile methodology, where we talked about how Agile is originally a project management tool or method, and the whole concept is being able to leave room for improvement and being able to take um, feedback and improve your product or improve your team as well from your feedback. And we talked about Agile Manifesto, where we talked about the 12 principles and the four key rules. And then we talked about the Scrum framework. We talked about the members of a Scrum team. We talked about the developers, the product owner, the Scrum Master, and the function of the Scrum Master on a development team. Then we concluded that with the Lean Startup methodology, which is quite similar to Agile methodology and are usually used together to manage a development team. And um, what else did we say about Lean Startup? Okay. We talked about the principles of the Lean Startup methodology, the principle that says to eliminate uncertainty and to work smarter, not harder, and develop an MVP, and then to validate learning, right? And the process of developing your product and how it is valid that you learn along the line, which is also where giving room for learning and growing from feedback and improving your products from feedback comes up again. So the lean startup is very similar to the agile methodology, and they are usually used as a complementary to each other to manage a product team or even a project management team. Okay, so that's it for what we did last week. So I do hope everyone has their view on the session two screen. It says agile tools and techniques. That is what we'll be discussing today. So let's dive into this quick. Um, so for the table of contents, we'll be discussing the agile tools, the collaboration tools, and the agile estimation techniques. Um, Agile tools act as a central hub, boosting visibility into the entire development process. The product team, including product designers, product managers, and develop, developers, can see exactly what's happening at every stage. This transparency fosters collaboration, making it easier for everyone to work together seamlessly. I don't know if you've ever found yourself on a team and um, it feels like your team lead is has this weird. It feels like your team lead has this weird control over information, and it feels very much like he or she, they are the only ones with all the information, and nobody else has any information from the higher authority or from collaboration from other teams besides them, and like nobody can seem to figure out how they know all these things that they know, and for you to know anything at all, you have to go through them, right? um I find that to be a very weird dynamic, but I do think that is how most teams function, and especially in the Nigerian system, because toxic leaders, they hoard information, and it makes it easier for them to exert control over other people. Like if there is a new position within the team that could get someone promoted, and I know about this, and I go ahead to not tell anybody on the team about this. I just hold the information to myself, meaning I give nobody the room to fairly compete for this position. Instead, I just have it at the back of my mind, and then I play favorites, and or I start playing these mind games, and I start testing people on my team to see who is best fit for the position. But in reality, what I'm actually doing is who is easier to control, so that I will be sure that when I promote them, they are still very submissive to me. And that is what I'm looking at. So basically, I'm looking out for myself, but I'm able to do that because I've heard this information and I've hidden the information from everybody else. So now I am the one with the upper hand, and I'm the one with the details, and nobody else knows. And now I can play all the games I want to play. Like information gives you, especially like information that you heard, it gives you a certain level of power. It gives you like just room to play things to your favor, basically. And it's something that toxic leaders do a lot, like information hoarding. So the thing is, with agile methodology, generally, you don't get to hoard information. You There is no room for hoarding information. There is no room for hiding things just so you can play certain games or certain things to your benefit and all that. It would ruin the whole concept of the agile methodology, and it just it ruins a development team at its core, because you could choose to protect your developers from certain information, right? You don't want distractions, which is why when someone has certain information or like complaints and all that, they don't go they don't go directly to what do you call them? They don't go directly to your developers, but they make sure to come directly to you, and you break down the information in such a way that it doesn't impact motivation, it doesn't impact um, productivity or effectiveness of your team. So you break down the information to responsibilities or requirements or tasks and tickets on Jira or something, right? That's a different thing. That's just managing information to be more productive. That's different from having information and hoarding it and hiding it from everybody. So one key tool for agile methodology is transparency, right? One key characteristics or feature that you will find is a thing with agile methodology is transparency. It's something that is needed with the way agile methodology works, or an agile team would work. So moving on, agile software also streamlines communication. Agile software development also streamlines communication, allowing for quick feedback exchange. Um, Issues can be identified and addressed rapidly, keeping projects moving forward and efficiently. Now, remember, if the whole point of an agile team is to collect feedback or collect feedback from different sources and go back and work on it and do some product improvement or process improvement, then there is no room to leave a gap in communication. There is no room to play games with information. Now, as the person in charge of the team, you could decide on how exactly you want your team to hear about something or to receive something or a feedback, but you don't get to decide that you're going to hide information from your team, especially for selfish purposes, for example, and because the feedback that you're trying to hide is how they are supposed to get better or be aware that they are on the right track. Sometimes it's not just about improvement. Sometimes it's like a little pat on the back. But the reason that pat on the back is important is that if we are on the right track, we need to know. And it needs to be expressed that we are on the right track, so we continue on that track. And everybody can buckle up and prepare to continue to move within the frame of the right track that we are in, right? So moving on, there are several tools a product manager can use for this program. We will consider all only three of many of many. Okay, so I think you've heard me talk about so many project management tools, but I think three tools stand out the most. Um, I think after this class, I would encourage you to open Jira, like just create an account, sign into it, and just take a view of what Jira looks like. It's the most popular tool, but it isn't the only tool. But familiarize yourself with it, and do the same thing with Asana and Trello. Trello and Jira are under the Confluence package. And if you've done anything in project management, I am very sure you would have come across them already, like just project management as a project management tool. But they are also used for product management tools because agile methodology is employed for product management as well as project management. So Jira is an agile tool. That's the whole point. Asana is an agile tool. Trello is an agile tool. I believe. Yeah, so Jira is a widespread agile project management tool that is most suitable for software development teams. It offers a set of features and supports custom Scrum and Kanban um, workflows. Remember, Scrum is a method under Agile, and so is Kanban. And if you read further about project management, you will come across them, and they are easy to capture. I don't want you to ever limit yourself to just what we discuss in these sessions. This is our fifth week in this cohort, and this is the second session in the fifth week, making it the 10th session generally for this cohort. Um, I don't want you to learn from just the materials that we have. Yeah, I can say when it comes to instructions for your assignment, I could say focus on the material because I want some sort of uniformity in your responses, right? And it makes it easier to address your work or your concerns. But for the sake of your knowledge in the field or like your knowledge of what you do in your career, do not limit yourself to materials. You could be intentional about broadening your learning and just seeking out what's out there. And I think more on the practical things. So when we discuss documentations and tools, go out and Google, find these tools, and even maybe just check YouTube demonstration of how to use them. Um, so that while you're looking at them, you're seeing the practical representation of how to use them. And so that when you're going for your entry level interviews and you're being asked about these tools, You could demonstrate how you've come across them and you've practiced with them and you've had good practice with them. It's an entry level, what you call that, position. So usually there are a lot of things they don't expect you to know. But then when you know them, because the whole point of an interview or a recruitment process is to hire someone that um, is exceptional or someone that is above others in skills and knowledge, right? So if that is the goal, you want to have something above other people. So it's a strategic thing. You're setting yourself up to know more than other people that are supposed to be in the same level as you. So yeah. So Jira is the first tool we're talking about, and just on your own, download Jira and or maybe don't do the mobile. Maybe just check the web page or the web app and just take a view of it or practice with it. So the software allows you to create a visual roadmaps of your projects, track work progress, and automate certain project management activities. With Jira, software teams can track bugs, easily collaborate, create estimations on sprints, assign tasks to different users. I think I already talked about how you're able to create your backlogs with Jira. You can create sprints, actual sprints with Jira, and you can create tickets and assign it to assignees. And I think there is even an option to have someone that supervises the assignee. I'm not sure if that was Jira that I found that feature with, but like Jira is such an explicit tool, and there's a reason it's the most popular in the field as of today. Although mostly Scrum oriented, the software comes with multiple charts for measuring workflow performance, such as burn down and burn up charts. So it has Chrome and Kanban boards, and the boards allow you. It's like having an actual drawing board. It allows you place things and have like or a wide view of what it is you're attempting to work on, and it gives you a clear picture of your roadmap and project estimations, agile reporting, custom filters, pre-built workflows, um, and then process automation, bugs, and defect management. Now, remember, as a product manager, very often when there are complaints that have been received from user feedback, you would usually receive these as tickets as well. So if your team, like the entire firm, if you've established a work process where you're able to go directly from the customer service assigning tickets from the customers or user feedback straight to you, the product team, and you're able to now collect that, transform it into a task, and create a ticket from it, and everything is just linked. That is like something that Jira also offers you. I might not be able to paint the picture just by words to you, but if you ever come across like an explicit use of Jira, you would see that. So it goes this way. There is a chat tool attached to a web page or an app, and that chat tool is linked to Jira Access, where the CX teams are able to share, to assign the tickets to different teams, right? So if a fraud report has been collected, it will be assigned to the fraud team. Nobody in particular on the fraud team, just assigned to the fraud team for the most part. And then the fraud team collects it, and they are able to, within their team, decide who will work on this and directly assign it to someone on the fraud team. The same thing happens with product complaints. So, like bugs and defects are usually the things that will come up for the product team, like constant report of bugs and defects. So it will be assigned to usually the product team, and then the product manager decides on how this will be worked on and who will work on it. And this would usually come up in a conversation with, like if it's a coding problem, like if it's an actual bug, for example, then a conversation will be had with probably the team lead for the engineering team that works with them, and then it will be assigned to someone. So Jira has that kind of very expansive view of plans and decisions, and the hows and the whys of different projects or sprints. That's the very big advantage of Jira. Integrations with many developers tools as well. So even your developers are able to give you detailed information on what they are working on with Jira. Jira gives you room to, for every ticket, there is an explanation for what it is that is being worked on. It's not just like a one liner. So that's something that Jira does as well. And Jira can be linked to other developers too, so that it's like once you're done, it's automatically like you've completed and you've integrated, and you've launched maybe. Um, it automatically sets it as done, depending on how extensive you fix your settings to be. So there is Asana, another tool. If you're seeking a user-friendly, interactive, agile project management tool, then Asana could be your perfect fit. It empowers teams to manage tasks, visualize roadmaps, plan projects, and generate attractive reports. So basically, these three tools do the same thing, but one of them, I'll tell you something about Jira. Jira is so at the basic level, Jira is very easy to use, but as you start to go deeper into using Jira to manage product development teams, if you're using Jira for just project management, simple project management, it's usually doesn't need much explanation. And whatever explanation you might need, you possibly be able to find online, right? That's how Jira is. But the minute you start to use Jira for your agile product development teams or software development teams, it becomes a different thing. It starts to transcend the basic need or the basic use of Jira. So something like Asana, the advantage it has over Jira is that it stays user friendly. It's I don't think there is anything you could do on Asana that transcends or transforms it into something so technically advanced in usage. But it also, at the end of the day, limits Asana to an extent in comparison to Jira. So that's like you have to choose your bitter pill to swallow as a product manager. As a new product manager, you might join a team that wants you to choose which of the tools should we use. So it depends on you. If you feel like the team is so little and there is no need for so much extensive features and workings within the tools that you will use, you could just go for Asana. Asana is quite simpler, and this doesn't mean it doesn't function. It's just not as extensive in function in comparison to Jira. And even Trello is more extensive than Asana, but Asana is good for a smaller team and smaller functioning teams, right? That's the thing about Asana. So Trello is the visual tool that empowers your team to manage any type of project, workflow, or task tracking, add files, checklists, or even automation. Um, Customize it all for how your team works best. Just sign up, create a board, and you are good to go. The platform uses a Kanban style interface. So Trello is more Kanban, and Jira is more agile focused. I think that's the major difference. Allow users to organize tasks and projects into boards, lists, and cards. Trello provides a high level of flexibility and customization, allowing users to add due dates, labels, attachments, comments to their tasks. Additionally, Trello integrates with a wide range of other applications and services, including Google Drive, Slack, and Jira. Okay, so you're able to integrate your Jira profiles or your Jira tasks or your Jira boards into your Trello. I do not think Jira integrates. Jira also integrates with Slack, by the way, but I do not think it integrates with Google Drive. I don't remember ever seeing that as an option while using Jira, but Jira is also always updating things. Jira is big with competition. If something is possibly something that one of their competitors have done successfully, then trust Jira. Jira is going to work on it and push out something similar and probably better. And look at me, I sound like an advocate for Jira. Jira is good, and Trello is equally as good. It's just that if you're going to operate an agile team, you're most likely to find Jira more effective, right? But that doesn't mean there's anything wrong with Trello. But for Asana, it's just more simplistic and usually favors smaller teams. So usually, if you're working with a startup, you will most likely be more favored with what do you call that, with Asana, and there's nothing wrong with that. So it's always better to start small, anyways, and start to expand slowly. So the key features, sorry, okay, the key features for Trello: cards, board, lists, Trello automation and power up, and integration. In summary, Trello is a simple yet effective project management tool suitable for individuals and small teams. Its visual boards, columns, and cards based on the Kanban system make it easy to use and understand even for beginners. So another advantage that Trello has over Jira as a project or product management tool is it is also much more easier to catch on with, especially with the way that Jira is. The higher up you go in functionality with Jira, the more difficult it is. And I'm not saying people catch on, like, you know how with product management things flow into each other. That's how Jira is. Things flow into each other and you figure it out eventually. But these other two tools are essentially easier to catch on with as you expand your team, as you expand your functions or the activities you do in the product team. These other two products or tools are much easier to catch on with, basically. It is highly flexible, enabling users to manage individual projects and ongoing workflows. Trello also offers a free plan with unlimited boards, lists, cards, and users, making it an attractive option for those on a budget. So Jira with the free mode, it's a very limited, or the free mode has very limited options, but Trello seems to have a wider option set for your expansion with the free mode, even before you have to start subscribing as a team. Jira also has free mode. It's just not. It just doesn't offer as much as Trello free modes, I believe. The tools can be as simple as email or as complex as a sophisticated project management software. The primary goal of a team collaboration tool is to align workers by providing support to a group of two or more individuals and assisting them in accomplishment of a common objective. So remember that as a product manager, your entire goal is to ensure that everybody is on the same track and everybody is working towards taking baby steps or just steps or large steps towards the same business goal or goal for the software you are developing. Um, the whole point of setting up these tools is to ensure that with these tools you're able to be aligned with everybody, and you're able to be updated with what everybody is doing even before an actual conversation is had. So if when setting up your tools, you have to put that into consideration. How does this tool play into me being able to, you know, play catch up with what everybody is doing or what every team is doing? And especially during the stand-ups. During the stand-ups, you would most likely have to open tickets and discuss what is going on with each ticket. So you want a tool that allows you the flexibility to do all of those things with ease. Um, we have various kinds of collaboration tools with which you must be familiar. Most of them have a free version and all have a paid version. They are usually used for effective communication among diverse teams in a typical tech savvy organization. Example of these tools would be Slack and Zoom, and you can mention the others, Okay, there is what do you call that? The Google Meet, very popular. There is Zoho. Zoho is becoming more and more popular among the Nigerian tech market. So yeah, the whole point is and I like something like Slack. Slack has created is dynamic in such a way that it is such a functional tool on its own. Of course, you can do actual project management documentation with Slack, but you can upload your documents on Slack. You can share. You can attach. You can assign a task on Jira to someone or on Trello to someone and attach them their Slack account. Is a Slack profile directly to the ticket. So in such a way that if your name is on the ticket, it's not just your name. If I click on it, it could immediately lead me to your Slack profile, and I can immediately text you on Slack about that ticket. So it's such an amazing integration that these tools have made so that collaboration isn't so limited or it's not exhaustive to go from one tool and open another tool and open it gets tiring. So then providing options where you could go to something like Trello or to Jira and you open a ticket and you're curious about maybe you've just joined a team that used to have a product manager and you're replacing the product manager and you are looking through their documentations and you've come across their Jira tickets and boards and you're looking for the different tickets, you found them and you're trying to gain more insight into what is being built or what is being upgraded or improved on. So you need to just gain some insights from the person that is working on it in particular. So because that person has been added to or assigned the ticket and it is linked directly to their Slack profile, it's easier to immediately immediately text them on Slack or send them a Slack message rather than having to leave um, the Trello or the Jira tool and then going to open Slack separately. You see, it makes collaboration very much more easier that way. More examples of collaboration tools you can explore as a product manager are Atlassian. Um, Jira is a tool created by the Atlassian team. If anybody knows, Microsoft's 365 or Teams. I find I don't know if anybody else has this experience with Teams. I find Teams kind of not very user friendly. I am very familiar with it, and it makes it easy for me to use it and navigate it. But usually, when I use tools, I try to imagine because all of the tools that I get to use, I have to speak to external stakeholders using these tools. For example, if my team says that all of their tools are Google tools, so that means we are using Google Meet within our internal team. Um, when I want to communicate with them, when I schedule meetings, I'm doing that on Google Meet, right? That would also mean that when I have an external meeting with partners or like for partnership conversations and or external stakeholders and all of that, I am also going to be using my Google account to create a Google Meet with them, for example. And there is no guarantee that say the account manager from that partner that has been assigned to you to your team is as tech savvy as everybody that is on your internal team. So you want to make sure that every tool that you are using is easy to navigate. So if I send someone a link for a meeting, I don't want them getting stressed out about joining the meeting and the navigation of the meeting link and all of that. And I feel like that is something I have seen, like reports I have received a lot from people when I have sent them a meeting link for Teams or with Teams. And I could be wrong, like it could just be a personal experience, but data doesn't really lie like that. So just something to keep at the back of your mind if you're ever given the option. Just think about it, try to navigate it yourself. For any tool you want to recommend, attempt to navigate it yourself before you jump into recommending it for your firm as a product manager, because at the end of the day, if it doesn't go well, you still be the person that would want to ask for a different tool to use, and then everybody will be like, oh, but you said we should use this one, you know. And then there's the Google Meet, very popular, very user friendly, and there is Cisco, WebEx, and Minimal. Benefits of using an efficient collaboration tool: one, it improves and makes communication faster for local and or remote teams and businesses. It gives a clearer exchange of information since all communications files, progress updates are centralized. Yes, like I mentioned before, the way these tools flow, the integration between these tools make communication and collaboration flow into each other, such an easy flow. Faster file sharing without file size limitation, resulting in a more efficient feedback process. A decrease in communication and miscommunication, since all communication is recorded and searchable. Yes. Remember what I said about being able to invite a note taker to my meetings. And that's part of that collaboration, or sorry, that is a part of that integration that gives room for easier collaboration. And then the way something like Slack also is, I could record that and receive it in my email and send it to someone else through Slack instead of sending it through just email and waiting until the person opens their email and all of that. Slack is an instant message tool, so it makes it easier. And then Slack also wouldn't change the quality of your file, like the file you're trying to share. So you're able to successfully do a good file sharing without compromising the quality of your file. It also decreases miscommunication, and it improves visibility into each team members and total project progress. Remember, that's the whole point of um, employing or deploying these tools in the first place, to keep everybody aligned and to be attuned to what everybody is doing, and what they might be struggling with, how you could assist them, or the barriers you might need to break for them to be able to successfully achieve their goals. Um, okay, everyone, remember the attendance link is out. Remember to fill out your attendance. Um, the next thing is agile estimation techniques. One, story points. Story points are an estimation technique used in agile project management methodologies to help your team scope the efforts required to complete a task. Story points account for factors like task complexity um, and uncertainty, which makes them more accurate than other estimation techniques such as time-based estimation. Um, okay, so these estimation techniques are not really things to fully bother yourself with. Remember that in Agile we don't do a lot of focus and documentation. We document as efficiently as possible, and as much as the little time we have, the little time frame we have, given that we are operating an agile team, gives us to do. But our main focus is supposed to be communication with people, collaboration, and making improvements from feedbacks, right? That's the main focus of an agile methodology or an agile team. unless we remember the principles of Agile, and let's focus on perfecting certain things like documentation and calculations. So these are part of the calculations. They are good sometimes if you're trying to reach a data informed decision, but they are not a priority for you. I'm just putting that out there. So, but anyways, it's good to know about them. So your story point is how you calculate how much, how complex a task is, and the uncertainty within this task, and it will help you decide on whether or not you want to take on a task or you don't want to. Um, the t-shirt sizing technique is a technique used to estimate the size or effort required to complete user stories or tasks. It involves assigning sizes based on t-shirt sizes like extra small, small, medium, large, extra large, or using the Fibonacci sequence 1, 2, 3, 5, 8. Because of how expansive these techniques are, I don't want to go into full on details on it, but you could read up on it by yourself. Like I said, don't ever limit yourself to just what we discuss in this class, because mind you, we also have the issue of limited time with our classes. Because then for some topics, if we want to go very much more expansive on them, then we will take your entire week. It won't just be the weekends. We'll do an everyday class thing. But you want to things like this. You just want to be aware of them. There are teams that you will join, especially for very established teams, and these things come up in conversations. And they could just throw out numbers. They might not do the full on calculation, but they could just like give you a round off of like before for this task to accomplish this before between this number and this number. But nobody's like you, you don't want to be lost. Is the whole point. You like when they give you a number like that, you want to capture what it is that they are trying to say, even without doing any calculation yourself. That's the whole point of trying to read up on it, read up on the techniques, um, the agile estimation techniques by yourself. So you have a more expansive knowledge of what it is it's talking about. Then the Fibonacci sequence is a very significant technique for calculating or estimating agile techniques. So it is often used in t-shirt sizing because it represents a natural progression of increasing numbers, reflecting the relative complexity of tasks. This sequence acknowledges that estimating larger tasks and with higher precision becomes more challenging. So the gaps between numbers gradually increase. The concept of t-shirt sizing was developed as a way to simplify estimation and facilitate discussions within agile teams. It provides a quick and intuitive way to estimate tasks without getting caught up in detailed and time-consuming estimation processes. Planning poker. Um, Now, remember, these techniques come up in trying um, to choose the best or priority tasks, for example, and they come up when you're trying to decide on a feature. For example, you're trying to decide amongst um, maybe three features, the best way to go. Maybe these three features offer the same thing, but they have a tweak differences, or like just almost insignificant differences, but you know that the differences would influence how you choose which of them to prioritize or to finally choose as the feature you're going with, right? So you're trying to decide on which of them is the best or which of them is better off left alone and all that. So these techniques could help you reach those decisions. That's the main reason these techniques exist. Planning poker. Planning poker is a planning and estimation technique used by agile teams after a product backlog has been created. The setup of this technique helps software teams accurately estimate product development time frame, improve collaboration, and strategize the work to be done. like I just said.
If it
Planning
double so
poker
open on
is
if you
in
choose to
Agile
nagaga.
is usually
But
played by
so bet
several
in ka you kwata fi
estimators
kwaniga.
across all departments in product development, from the Scrum Master to product managers,
Wa be go
developers,
fi
QA
nagaga.
testers, and UX
Begu.
designers. Um, for Agile teams, planning poker is a great addition to the product planning. I think it's important to state this. These techniques under the Agile methodologies are kind of, I don't really want to use the word outdated, but
Okay.
the thing is that Agile teams are much more practical these days, and the options, also given that the tech space is lean on investments, right? You don't have a lot of resources. You don't have too many resources that gives you these two, all these very many options that we are talking about making a decision on. So usually the conversation of using these techniques rarely, if not never, come up, right? Like I said, you just want to be equipped to be able to have a conversation on them or surrounding them, but it's not something to be afraid of. They are easy to capture what is being said. Just the simple googling will help you, but they are easy to capture what is being said. But I'm just letting you know it's nothing to be afraid of, like how to handle it in the future. If you read it enough, you will have a good idea of what is being talked about. And in meetings, when they are brought up, you can like fully engage in a conversation with them, right? But just letting you know that they are not intense needs to they are not intense needs to worry yourself about, basically. Okay. Okay, so I am seeing that a lot of people are being asked to mute their mic. I just want to like make sure that everybody can hear me. Um, I don't know if Joshua is still here. Okay, can you hear me? Or are we having problems with background sound? Because there's no background sound here.
Can hear you.
So
Can hear you.
I'm not sure where the background sound is coming from. I don't see any mics on, but if I do see one, I would be sure to mute it. I do not think Joshua is. I do not think Joshua is able to join us fully for the class today. I think he's struggling with network and power. Okay, I do not see any mics on, and please feel free to express yourself if you're struggling with hearing me.
Jega kira mo mun sai. Jega kira uta.
If I hear any sound in the background, I'll
Jega
attempt
kira mo
to
amarya.
reduce it
Ngo?
or stop it.
Jega kira wa amarya. Jega kira wa amarya.
Mr.
Ra je da
Suleiman,
sauri.
you are
Je da
the
sauri je ka
main
kira wa
of
amarya.
distraction in this class. So I have muted him, and from what I can see, I am the only one that has their mic on. Everybody, please ensure that your mic is muted. Remember, the class is not interactive during the teaching. We only have an interactive session during the question and answer, and even that has to be properly organized. So do not be a distraction to your to your classmates. We need a serene class so nobody is distracted. Um, I have spoken so much about professionalism. With distance, you are more likely to be fired for your responses to stimuli and the way you adjust to your environment and your response to your colleagues more than you will be fired for your skills, right? If you're joining a class, it's like you're joining an interview. and you join an interview with just your mic unmuted, and you don't show your face because it's a virtual interview, you already know that is deducting points from you. You're supposed to have your camera on from start. So there are just certain social decorums, or in this case, virtual classroom decorums that you're supposed to observe. Unless you've been invited to speak, there is no need for your mic to be on. Your mic should be off until you are called upon to speak. And most likely, if I call upon you to speak on anything, I would unmute you, or if I invite for anybody to give me information about something, say, can you hear me? I need someone to let me know. Can you, if they can hear me, then you put on your mic and speak. That's fine because that was requested of you. But besides that, there is no need for your mic to be on and your background noise distracting everybody. That is so, um, you know, that is so tactless in the sense of speaking. Okay, let's get back to it. Um, there is the bottom up estimating flips the script on project planning. Instead of getting a big overall effort, it starts by meticulously estimating the time needed for the smallest, most detailed tasks. Imagine building a house and you wouldn't just guess how long it would take. You would estimate framing, electrical work, plumbing, and so on. So there are times that when a new feature has been suggested to a product team, you'll find your head of products, for example, asking you about your team. How long do you think this new feature would take to build? How long? This usually happens within the time that you're supposed to be sprint planning. Yeah. Um, and they start asking you questions about how long do you think this would take. I'm supposed to make an estimate. You don't want to make this estimate casually, because every time plan that you give your head of products or your VP of products or tech VP for your firm, they take that very seriously. They if something goes wrong, someone needs to be held accountable, right? So if you get a time and say it without being sure, right? If you're getting the time based on how long something similar has been worked on, and like throughout your stay, this is how long projects like this take. Cool. That's cool. That's okay, because you're following a pattern. You're following the data you have on the pattern, right? That's okay. But especially when you have something in its premise that is entirely new to what you are used to, you definitely don't want to take the risk and just blab out a period of time that you might not be able to commit to. Then it becomes a problem. So all these estimations are supposed to help you break down the processes that are involved and be able to have a realistic time frame and effort calculation and all that, and be able to give response, document responses, because these messages would usually go out through something like Slack, but it can be referred to should there be a problem in the future. If you say 2 weeks and after 3 weeks there is no feature yet, there is no launching yet, if I'm your VP, I would go back to that message and send it back to you and say, this is the conversation we had, and now the co-founders are on my neck. What is holding us? Do you, like the goal is to remind you of what was discussed, but then that is a big pressure on you because you've committed to a time that you didn't follow a pattern to provide, or you didn't calculate with this estimation technique. So this is where the estimation techniques could save you if the your new project or the new product or feature you're about to work on is very new, like very new as project. You've never done something like it before, so you cannot make estimates off the top of your head. So you need calculations. So what else? The Okay, so we're still talking about the bottom up estimation. This approach relies heavily on the composition, which is the fancy way of saying you break the project down into tiny manageable pieces. If you have a lot of information about these small tasks, or if your project is similar to something you've done before. Bottom up estimating can be a powerful tool for getting a fairly accurate picture of how long everything will take. Okay. So bottom up also puts into consideration the pattern that I just spoke about. So bottom up is looking like a very good technique for projects that are similar to something you've worked on before. As a product manager or a team lead, guiding your team through an effective estimation process is an essential skill. By assigning values to features or stories, team members can translate their subjective opinions into quantifiable measurements that will help map out the next project and allow leaders to track performance effectively. It's wise to trust the estimates for individual tasks offered by your team members, as these will be based on their experience, unless data from previous previous projects indicates a different conclusion. Yes. The nature of the project and the size of a team, as well as team members' familiarity with estimation, will dictate which technique is the best fit for your team. That's our final note. So I'm going to do a quick run through of what we just discussed before I start taking questions. So we discussed the agile tools, or we did a continuation. Okay, no, we discussed this is the first conversation about the agile tools, and we talked about Jira, we talked about Trello, we talked about Asana, which seems to be the simplest or the most user-friendly tool out there, but not as expansive as Jira and Trello. And then Jira and Trello do have a lot of integration options for other collaboration tools that you might need for a fully functional team. So we talked about collaboration tools like Slack. We talked about collaboration tools like Google Meet, Microsoft Teams. These are for meetings. Of course, there is no collaboration without meetings, of course, both external with external shareholders and internal shareholders. Then we talked about the agile estimation techniques, which is supposed to help you um, give a calculated and actually estimated time frame for projects and effort that will go into certain products or features, and trying to choose the best tool for or technique for your team. Um, for your team's calculations or estimations will be dependent on their experience level, um, and their experience level generally, and their experience level with estimation, and the task, the size of the task, and the size of the project that is being worked on as well. Okay, that is all for today's session. So now I'll open the floor to whomever has questions from. Remember, when we are asking questions, we need to make them about the classes. Um, I do believe I have addressed everybody's concerns with the assignment. So I won't be going back to have conversations about the assignment. But I will be entertaining questions from our yesterday's class and today's class. So the floor is open. If your hands are up, I will call on you. If you're too shy to speak, which I'm hoping nobody is, you could drop off your questions in the question channel, and someone would respond to you, of course. Okay, I am waiting for your hands to go up. And if after, say, about 5 minutes, there are no hands up, I will end the session. And I'll see you guys in the channel, Telegram channel. Okay, I'm going to assume my delivery of the lesson was good enough for everybody. Okay, I see Suleiman Aliyu with his hands up. Please go ahead and ask your question, Suleiman. Okay. Suleiman is doesn't seem to actually.
Hello, hello,
Hi,
good evening, ma.
hi, good evening.
Hello, good evening.
Hi, we can hear you. Go on with your question.
Hello, good evening, ma. Okay. Please, I just want to apologize for what just happened. I didn't know that my mic was unmuted, so I just want to apologize for that, please.
Okay, thank you, Suleiman, for the
Hello, can you?
apology. That is appreciated. Okay. So if all we are getting for today is an apology, that means someone said bring a carton of Capri Sun, virtual Capri Sun maybe. Okay, if that is all for today, that means my explanation for the session or the lesson was good enough, and or maybe beyond good enough. So we don't have any questions. And I want to appreciate everyone for showing up this week again. Keep up the good work, and look out for your assignments. Hopefully, we can provide you with an assignment tomorrow, before close of business tomorrow. We appreciate you keeping up with your own end of the bargain and putting in the hard work. Thank you, everybody. And thank you, Joshua, for attempting to be there for us today, even though your system failed you. Um, we appreciate you and we appreciate everyone for coming on. Do have a great evening. And hopefully, no pressure for you for Monday as you return to work. Do take care, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you for the class. Thank you.